Alright you guys, what is up? It's your boy Dog here, bringing you a tutorial on how to make a pretty sick looking TED emblem. If at any time I seem to go over something too fast, feel free to pause the video to catch up and copy all the numbers at the top of the screen. Now this emblem isn't really too complicated as long as you know how to use the color gradient tool, and it's only going to be 29 layers in total. I'll be going over all the colors of the shapes that I used and if I have to change the opacity of them. Now to start off with layer 1, pick just any random color, doesn't really matter, just whatever you prefer. And then for layer 2, the first color that you're going to need to use is going to be from the second row, and it's going to be the second color in that row. And then the second color is going to be in the second row, but it's going to be the fourth from the bottom. And then it's going to stay linear, and the color gradient bar at the bottom is just going to stay at 50 as well. And for layer 3, the color that you're going to use is going to be the second row. It's going to be the first color for that row, and you're going to have to make it go down to an opacity of 14 for that. Then for layer 4, it's going to be the same colors as the second layer. It's going to stay linear, but you're going to change the color gradient bar to 60. And that's going to go the same for the fifth layer, but you're going to change the bottom bar to 35. And for the ears, you're actually going to change the gradient to radial, and then the colors will stay the same, but the bar at the bottom, you will have to change that to 80. And then copy that to the seventh layer, which would be the same. And then after you move on to the eighth layer, the colors are going to change, and you can actually flip the two colors you were just using for the other ones. So it'll be the lighter color for the first and then the darker for the second, and then you're gonna keep it on radial, the same as the ears that you just made. And then for the color bar at the bottom, you're gonna have that set down to 30. And then when you get to 9, you're going to again make the opacity to 14, and it's going to be the first color in the second row, and that'll be the same for 10. And then when you move on to 11, you're going to turn it back to linear, and then the first color is going to be the first color in the second row, so it's going to be darker than the previous ones where you were using the second in the orange/brown row. And then the second part is going to be the fourth from the bottom on the second row, the same as what you've been using for the color. And then so it's going to be linear, and then the color bar at the bottom is just going to still be set to 50, so nothing changes there. And that'll also be the same, and it'll copy over to 12. Moving on to 13, it's going to be the second in the second row, and then it's also going to be for 14, it's going to be the second color in the second row, but it's just going to be a smaller version of the top version. And moving on to 15, you're going to want to do the second row, but you're going to want to do the third from the bottom color this time. And then when you're moving on to 16, it's going to be a color gradient, which you're going to set to radial, and the bar at the bottom is going to be set to 55. The first color here is going to be the second to the bottom on the second row, and the second color is going to be the fourth to the bottom on the second row. Moving on to the eyes. For the brown, you're going to want to do a color gradient, which is set to radial, and the first color is going to be the second row, the first one on the second row. And then for the second color, you're just going to want to go all the way over to black, and then when you do that, you're going to want to set the color bar all the way down to 25. And then once you do that, it'll copy over to 18, which is just going to be the same. And then 19, you're just going to make a black circle that's slightly smaller than the previous two circles, just for the middle of the eye, which is going to copy over to 20. And then on top of that, you're just going to have a oval shaped like lens glare on the eye, which it's going to just be white, but you're going to make the opacity go down to 7%, so it's sort of see-through, and that'll copy over to 22. And then for 23, the colors that you're going to use are going to be, the first is going to be the last row, but it's going to be the second in that row, and then the second color is just going to be the first color, which is black, in that last row. And it will be linear, and then you're gonna have to set that all the way to 0, which when you set it to 0, it's still gonna have a slight color difference, so you'll still be able to see a black portion and then the mixture of the dark gray, so you'll be able to see a fade still, even though it says 0. And then for 24, you're going to do that same exact fade, but to get the point at the bottom of the nose, you just need to have that extra shape to make it so it connects to the mouth there. Now for 25, you're just going to do a black line down the nose, and then after that, you're going to connect the nose to the mouth with the second in the second row. And then after that, you're going to set this opacity down to 50 actually, and it's going to be a black little line across the top of the mouth. And then after that, to make the bottom of the mouth, you're going to need to have the first color set to black, and then the second color is going to be the first in the first row, and you're going to have that set to linear, and you're going to have that set all the way to 100. And for the last layer, 29, you're actually going to do the complete opposite. For the color wise, you're going to need to do the red from the first row first, and then the second color you're going to have to do black, and then you're going to have to keep it linear, but you're going to have to keep that down to 0 as well, so you're just flipping the colors at the end here. And after that, you're just gonna have this as your emblem, and everyone will be like, whoa, how did you get such a cool emblem? And you're gonna be like, oh, I just watched Krishdog Gaming's emblem tutorial, and give me a plug, and then boom, you're done. And again, feel free to slow down the video or pause the video at any time. I know I didn't go through how to make the shapes, how they looked on this video, but I hope that you guys can just look at the position, scale, and rotation up at the top of the screen, and just you'll be able to tell from that how I'm positioning the shapes. But since I've showed you the colors that you can use, then it'll probably help as well. So if you guys liked this tutorial, please like, subscribe, and comment. And if you guys want more tutorials, I have a lot more emblems that I've made, and I'd be glad to show them off. And yeah, guys, enjoy your rest of your day, and see you later. Peace out.
I got in one little fight and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air." I begged and pleaded with her day after day, but she packed my suitcase and said,